Hey guys, I'm here in my backyard and I was about to start trimming it and decided, hey, why don't I make a quick little video in regards to my new trimmer that I picked up a few weeks ago. It's a replacement for the previous model, which is the DCST 920B, and this is the DCST 922B. And I figured I'd do like a little comparison in terms of what new features this one offers over the old one, and do like a mini review and compare this one's performance, although I don't really expect there to be much difference. The reason I decided to buy this is I'm just a big DeWalt nerd, and you know, this one had a couple compelling features. Main one is that it's foldable, so it stores a lot easier, doesn't take up as much room. It's about half a pound lighter, and the other one is it has a really neat quick feed system for the trimmer string, and so I think those features alone might not be worth upgrading from the old one to this one. But as I mentioned, I just love DeWalt products, and I got it for a really good price as well. So I figured I'd compare the two. I didn't see any other videos on YouTube where there was a comparison maybe between the two models, so I figured, hey, let's just see if I could make one and show it to somebody else. Yep, everything just goes rolling away. There you go. That's the biggest difference right there, is that it folds. And so based on previous videos that I've seen, once it folds and locks, it's sturdy as if it was a single piece shaft. So we'll just do that. Definitely. There we go. So it just grabs right there. And you got a little tab that catches on another one underneath it. Oh yeah, definitely sturdy. And then also the head is different. Again, we'll show that here in a second. All right, so I've got the old one out to compare to this new one. I already went ahead and assembled the new one. Nothing special, so I just quickly did it off camera. Main two pieces is this cover right here that's held by 2 bolts underneath, and then this one right here with the 4 bolts, this handle. So kind of just to compare them, a couple things I noticed right off the bat. Of course, the shaft on this one, it's a rectangular shaft. This one's round. Also the handle, this is more like a foam. This is rubberized. Also, with as far as kind of adjustment, depending on how long your arms are and how you hold it, this one you get a little bit more travel than this guy because of the folding mechanism that gets in the way. So that perhaps might be a problem for some people. After I installed this handle, I held it and it just felt about the same. I might take a measurement between the trigger and this part and compare it to this one. So speaking of the trigger, it's like a 2-stage, so the safety part is right here, and on this one it's on the side. Next up would be the battery. It's attached on the back, and then this guy, it's underneath, so it's a bit, I would say, more slim profile. Now, kind of just holding them together, picking up one after the other, I think most of the weight, or at least it feels like this, is up here in the head. This one feels heavier than this one up in the head. Like I mentioned earlier, there's about a half pound difference. I was thinking maybe there'd be weight here too, because this is bulkier than this. It's far slimmer, but just holding it with one hand, it feels heavier up front. And then I was gonna demonstrate how easy it is to load the spool, but there's already stuff that they preloaded into it, and it looks like it's the DeWalt stuff that I already have laying around. So yeah, guess next up I'll just do a quick test. I honestly don't expect a big difference in performance. I did mention earlier that the cutting path is 14 inches on the new one and 13, so 1 inch difference. Not gonna be big, not gonna be big in the practical sense. But I think the biggest part will be just handling due to weight, the balance of the weight, and then the ergonomics, because I think they're somewhat different. Just kind of starting with this and then just positioning of this. I would say, going back to that, the con is that I could rotate this around. I loosened these up and I could rotate them around, and I would use it as a hedger. So I can still do that with this one, but it's going to be a little bit harder because I won't be able to rotate this due to the rectangular nature of this. So I'll have to like grab onto the side here or just hold it like this. So before actually I do a little test with it, I figured I'd measure a couple things I was mentioning earlier. Basically the distance between the handle and the trigger. So this guy, I'm looking at about 12 inches. I'm just measuring to the center of this, 12 inches. Flip this over. This looks like 15 right now. So actually, for this to be the same as this, I would have to move this handle up. So, and I have room to do that. I have a few inches. It looks like 3.5 inches that I can move it up. So I'll just give it a test in its normal configuration, because just by holding it, it felt fine. But after I do a little test, we'll see if I need to adjust it. Okay, so I actually specifically left the edge of the grass for this. Normally I just cut it every week, with when I mow. So it's way taller than normal. I think this is about 3 weeks worth. So we'll give it a little shot and see what happens. Okay, so another thing I noticed, way less vibration. And I know that if it's a dual string set up on the other one, just like this one, so if one of the strings is shorter, you'll get an oscillation because it's uneven. But I've checked that a bunch of times, and even with both strings out and whatnot, you can still feel a vibration in your hands. This one, nothing. I don't feel anything at all. And cuts just as good. So, and as far as, yeah, this feels fine too. I'm not going to pull it up. The distance is perfect. I got longer monkey arms, so I actually was kind of worried that it would be too crunched up like this, but this is great. And then as I was trimming, this was on the high setting for power. I normally don't do it on. I just want to do another little quick side by side of them right next to each other, so you can see a few other things. Notice the profile, especially towards the back. I slimmed it down a lot on the newer one, but up at the bottom, it definitely bulked things up at the bottom, which is weird because it doesn't feel heavier at the bottom. Yeah, as I was saying, just 2 minutes of using that and I can already tell there's just way less vibration. There's none, at least from what I felt. And I've had this unit for 2 years, or 3 years I think now. So yeah, it's my little video. Let me know what you think.